Hey guys, welcome back to... My phone vibrated when I was doing that bit, okay? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for this week's video, I thought I would do a sit-down advice video. And I thought I would give you guys my top 10 tips for surviving year 11. And this is for all you guys that are year 10 going into year 11, starting your GCSEs, and me giving you guys some of my advice for you guys surviving it and powering through and getting the grades that you guys have worked so hard and that you deserve. I've just been through year 11 myself, and through that year I have gained so much more experience and advice that I'm going to be giving you guys now. So here are my top 10 tips for surviving year 11. So my first tip is don't stress too much. And it sounds really easy to be like, oh, you don't need to stress, like just relax, it'll be fine. Because the week before my exams was completely terrifying for me and I was so scared, but honestly exams are not the be all and end all, and that is one thing that is important for you guys to remember. You'll hear people saying all over summer that they were really hard, and then you'll probably get in a mindset where you're going to fail, but if you have that positive mindset, then positive outcomes will come to you. It's kind of like a thing that I live by, I guess. But yes, exams are not the be all and end all. Yes, they give you grades that can help you move on to sixth form, but the main ones that you need to pass are maths and English, and I know they are really complicated, but trust me, do as your teachers say and put in the work and the effort, and you guys will get those grades that you need. But these exams don't decide whether you live or die. They are not the be all and end all, so just relax and try to embrace the year and embrace the challenges that it throws at you. Just remember that your mental health is so much more important, and if you're constantly getting yourself in an anxiety and stressed state, then it's not going to help and you're not going to make any progress. So try and keep calm. So my second piece of advice is to get any coursework that you have left out of the way. Now I know a lot of the new courses don't actually have a lot of coursework on them, which is kind of lucky in a way, but then not so much if you're not good at exams and you don't like exams. I prefer to do coursework subjects. So for me, I took art, BTEC Performing Arts, I took textiles, and citizenship had coursework, and then obviously for science I had to do my ISAs as well. So a lot of those subjects were pretty much coursework related, so make sure that you get all your projects done. If you've got art projects, make sure you get them all completed to your highest standard as possible. If that means putting some extra time in at your weekend, spending an extra hour doing coursework, or staying after school for an hour one night a week to get your books up to date, then do it. Just put in the work. It's so worth it, because once you get those good coursework grades, then if your grading is like 25% coursework and then 75% exams, like it was for me for history, then if you get your coursework level to an A, a B, or somewhere around that kind of grade point that you can achieve, then it will put less pressure on you in your exams, because you know you have that coursework grade to fall back on. If you fail the exam, it can help pull your grade up. But it's so much more easier if you get your coursework done earlier. So I tried to get my coursework done before Christmas, around that kind of time frame. Obviously for art, we were doing coursework till May time, I'm pretty sure, till like the Easter holidays. A bit after, I think, was when we had our art exam. So obviously try and keep up with the deadlines. If your teachers are saying to do this artist research page, get it done out of the way, because it puts less pressure on you. You don't need any more added pressure being in year 11. It's stressful enough as it is. My third tip is start revising early. And it sounds crazy, like, I know, just the thought of revision just made me want to curl up in a ball and cry, because revising sometimes isn't the most fun thing, and it's probably not the thing that you want to be doing. But if you start revising early, it helps you to get it really in your brain. And obviously you have mocks, so you'll be revising throughout your mocks, hopefully, which I do advise doing, is like working on those mocks, because it's the only time that you're actually going to have that practice in that exam hall with a star paper like the ones that you'll actually be sitting. But if you start revising early, it helps your brain to get all those informations in, and you won't be doing so much cramming towards near the exams, which I found a lot of people were doing in my year. Some people would get to a couple weeks before the exam and be like, I should probably start revising now. But trust me, I was one of those people for a little while. I kept saying like, I need to start revising, but I did actually start revising pretty early. It worked for me. I'm not the type of person that can revise for months before an exam. I do like a few weeks before. So that's kind of how it personally works for me. But if you find that you you prefer to revise over time, or just whatever the time frame works for you, then do it. Work by what's best for you and what you know works. I just find that if I revise for months before the exam, none of the information really stays in my mind. But start revising at a convenient time for you. It just puts less pressure on, and you won't be doing a lot of the late night cramming sessions the night before the exam. So my fourth point is to have a healthy balance in your life. Have a healthy balance between revision and your social life. Now, it is crazy for teachers to expect us to revise for hours and then do homework and extracurricular activities and just to have fun in general whilst doing all of this crazy stuff. But just try and balance it out. Whether that means 50-50 of revision and social life. So maybe you do an hour of revising and then you go out for an hour with your friends, you go shopping or just hang out, or even if you FaceTime them, that kind of a thing. Or if you want to do an hour of revision and an hour of watching Netflix, just balancing it. You don't want to spend all your time revising, because you'll have like school, revision, sleep, and then school, revision, sleep, and it's a whole process and it's not healthy. And you need to keep your year 11 interesting. You don't want to waste this year. Like you have an opportunity to really spend time with your friends before you might not see them again if you're going to different colleges or different sixth forms. You also have the long summer as well, so don't try and cram all your social life in that period. You have that like 3-month summer. It goes really quickly, trust me. It went pretty quickly for me. So my fifth tip is to use your teachers. Your teachers are in your lessons. If you are on study leave and they're still opening their lessons to you, they are there for a reason. They are there for you to ask for help from them. So if you have any questions, if there's maybe a topic or a unit that you're really struggling with, then you can just ask them to help you on that. That's what they're there for. They want you to get those good grades as much as you want to get those good grades yourself. So use them. If you need any help, if you need any extra papers, or if you need them to mark any papers, or if you need help with coursework, teachers are there to be helpful, so make sure that you are using them. Also, if they do offer any revision sessions where they say they're going to be focusing on a particular literature thing that you are studying, or whether they're doing a certain topic, go along. If you know that those are your strongest areas, then obviously you can use that time to revise for something else that you're not so strong at. But if you know they're covering a unit or a topic that you are not so good at and you don't know much information for, go along. They don't hurt, and they can be really helpful because you get that one-on-one time with your teacher as well. There's less people, so you can get more help there. So my sixth tip is revision guides. Revision guides are so helpful. I use the CGP ones for pretty much all of my English texts, and I used a couple of the Collins ones, and then I also had a science revision guide. But these are so helpful because they really go in depth about the text that you're studying or about the different units, and sometimes they even have some practice questions just to quiz your mind. But I find them so helpful for me making my notes. So my seventh tip is revision websites and apps. Now, these I found were really helpful. Some of the websites I used were obviously BBC Bitesize, that was super helpful. And also our school used Doddle, which was great for revising sciences. You could do little quizzes that would take about 5 minutes, and then I would write notes from things that I didn't get right. This was really helpful because it allowed me to figure out which areas that I needed to improve on, and then I could make notes and then revise over those areas, so I got them in my mind. So my eighth tip is to use your time at school wisely. It is pretty easy to be sitting in a lesson and just feel like, I'm not going to bother revising this, I'll do that later, or I'm just going to talk to my friends and mess about, I'm not going to get any coursework done or any work done what the teacher says for me to do. But it's so helpful if you do sit in a class and you do the work provided, or any work that you want to do. If you say to a teacher, I'm actually really good at this unit, can I do a different unit instead? And they're like, sure, go ahead. And you can revise other areas. But I found it so helpful just to actually be using those lessons wisely and the time I have. If you have an hour before an exam, or an hour between exams, or an hour between lessons where you want to stay in school for those lessons but you don't want to go to that particular lesson, use that time wisely. Revise over keynotes or something. Have some kind of revision material with you at school at all times, because if you have an extra second to revise, then just use it up. It's always helpful. Also, the more revision you do at school, the less revision you have to do at home, if you think about that. My ninth tip is to look after yourself. It can be so easy when you're in year 11 to just think, I'll just skip my lunch today, I'm revising, like I'm in this mindset, I don't need food. Or it can be so easy to just forget to drink water or stay up all night long cramming for an exam. But trust me, it's not going to help you. in order for you guys to be successful in an exam hall, you need to make sure that you are healthy, and if you are going to be up all night cramming, then your brain is not going to be as active as it was when you were revising, so you're not going to remember a lot of the stuff. And then later in the day after that exam, you might have that moment where you think, I got that answer wrong, or I know what I could have put for this answer that I left blank. So make sure that you guys are getting enough sleep. Likewise with food and water. Make sure that you are having 3 consistent meals a day, something to eat for breakfast. For me, I'm not a big breakfast fan, but eating something is so important. So whether it's a banana or having some toast, some kind of breakfasty thing for you that's going to give you some energy, because it can really help benefit you. Trust me, trust me. Going into an exam where you've had enough food to eat and enough water really wakes your body up and makes your mind ready to work. And it does give you that mind power energy too, which is so important. Likewise with water, drink enough water. I cannot stress how important it is. I get a lot of stress headaches, so me being exams and being in exam season, it was so important for me to drink a lot of water. And whether that means getting a massive water bottle or a cute water bottle that makes you want to drink out of it because you look cute drinking out of it, that's what worked for me. But drink a lot of water, especially in my exams. I always brought a bottle of water with me, which I would advise for you guys to do. Sometimes they do have them in the exam hall, but they are little small ones. Also make sure that you do take the labels off, because there are a lot of rules in exam halls and that is one of them. But just consistently try to drink enough water, get enough sleep and eat enough food, and you guys should be healthy and ready to go for your exams. So my 10th and my final tip is mark schemes and past paper questions are your friends. It is so helpful to look at previous mark schemes and previous exam papers of the years before you, and obviously for you guys now a lot of the syllabus has completely changed, so you don't have those past papers to look back on, but I found it really helpful to just see what came up in other papers, so then you could think about what could potentially come up in your paper. But if not, use all of the exam preparation resources that the exam boards you are on have provided for you at your school, or your teachers have provided. They are so helpful. I did a practice question for, I think, pretty much all of my English papers, and I had to go at different questions. I asked my teacher to make up questions for me, and I would sit and do them in class or at home, and then I'd email them into her, or I'd bring them to her at school, and then she would mark them for me. And my teacher was AQA marker for the English language papers, so she was expertise with it. She knew what she was talking about, and it was so helpful. Likewise with my maths teacher, I would do an exam paper at home, I'd give it to him, or I would sit after school. I think I did a few days after school. I would just sit in the maths room with him, going through papers, going through things I didn't know, just to getting a gist of the AQA papers and what it would be like. So those were my top 10 tips for surviving year 11. I hope that you guys found it helpful, and if any of you guys are from year 11 or have just come through year 11 like me, then leave any other tips that I maybe haven't mentioned in the comment section for people that need it. Also, if you do want me to do a back to school Q&A video coming up in September time, then let me know what kind of questions you want to see. You can always tweet me. My Twitter and Instagram is usually on the screen as well as in the description box below, so check those out. But if you do have any questions, if you are going into year 11 and I didn't mention anything, or you're a bit worried about a certain thing, leave them in the comments and I will try to get back to you on that one. Also, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my channel and you like what you see. Give this video a thumbs up if I didn't mention it already. Put the bell on, get notified when I upload, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!